Hello, you're welcome to our channel. Compliment of the season to you. If this is the first time you're coming across our channel, here we make video tutorials on sewing and DIY. So do make sure to kindly like, follow, subscribe, and stay tuned. Today we'll be creating this dress. This is the style inspiration, the one with the gold, and the one on black is what we created. These are handles you can use it to reach up. Now let's dive into the tutorial. For the lace, I use 1.5 yard of lace. The Ankara fabric, I use close to 4.5 yards because Ankara is by 45. So for you to get the full length, especially if the person is by more than 60 inches length, you're going to measure out your Ankara on a straight line. You measure like 60 and that you need, because this I use 60 and 65 inches actually. So you're going to measure out what you want, and when you measure it out by 60, whatever the length is, you measure the length, then you fold into two. So that's what I will be doing. I've actually marked it out, but for tutorial purpose I am going to share it. Initially I didn't want to make a tutorial, but I said let me share this. Okay, so now the measurement you need is your half length measurement, that's your waist measurement, your hip measurement, your knee measurement, and the full length. Okay, it's a quite easy boo dress to make. So I have marked to my waist. Then now from my waist I'm going to mark to my hip line, which is 9 for this person. She's quite tall, which is 9. So from there I am going to put the tape on the hip waistline again and measure out my knee measurement, because if you look at the dress very well, you see that it has like a fitted shape from the knee line down, then the down is floaty. Okay, so now I'm going to measure from my waist to my knee. I did 18 inches for this person because she's quite tall. I take standard is 17. Okay, then that's why I want the curve to start from. Okay, so it's just like when you're making 6 pieces. So now the measurement we need to impute now is from the waist hip line. You're going to impute your hip measurement, which is, use your measurement. Okay, you add 1 inch ease allowance, then you add 1 inch, you add your sewing allowance. I also want to point out, if you want it free to have easy access to wear it, you need to put a zipper allowance, which I didn't do here, but there was a way I fixed the zip. Okay, so you should add a zipper allowance for the back, okay, before you start your measurement. So if you're going to do that, you put 1 inch 1 inch allowance for the back to keep your zip. Okay, so now I'm going to add my hip. For my hip, I minus 1 inch from the hip, from the knee, sorry, I minus 1 inch for the hip measurement and I imputed it there. Then I connected. For the down part I did 16. 14.5 is standard to give you ease for the down part, but I added 16, which includes my sewing allowance and everything. I think 16.5, which include my sewing allowance and everything. So now I'm going to go up from the baseline of the down part. I'm going to go up by 2 inches and I'll connect it back again to give me this, like this, it has this curvy flow, kind of like a flake kind of at the down part. So that will give you that effect. So I need to do now, from the waistline, that's from the waistline, I'm just going to freestyle it to connect to meet the hip measurement and the hip allowance, all the allowances that I add. I'm just going to connect and make like as if you're doing a line from the knee line, point to the end of that point. That's just basically it. It's as simple as you see it. Then you connect and cut out all that you have marked. I also love to point out that I did lining, a full lining for it. So for the neck measurement, the neck I am going to do 2.5. Okay, the reason I'm doing 2.5 is because the front is V. If you do 3, it might be too open, so that you have a snatch, because there's no way we're contouring any part of that place. So I'm doing 2.5 for the neckline, for the back of it, 2.5 wideness, 1 inch depth for the back. Then for the front, I'm going to do 7, but you will see how I'm doing it. I sewed it before I cut. Okay, that gives a very good grip and makes your V very pronounced. Okay, so for the down, you can choose not to do a slant for the down actually, because you need the hand to be very full. You can choose not to do a slant, but because of the design I'm going to do on it, I have to do a slope for the down, which I did like, I think 0.7 or so. I didn't do much of a slope. Okay, so now I'm just cutting. Now I'm cutting. I cut a full lining for this. I used aba lining. If you're in Nigeria, you should know what aba lining is. So I have to measure to make sure for my length, and I did a readjustment for the length because I did more SS. I did, I think, 67 or so. So I have to reduce it so that the dress needs to flow. If it does not flow, if it's jumpy, the flay effect will not come out nice. So anybody you're making this dress for should be ready to wear a heel. It has to flow. Okay, so that is what we have now. So I'm going to cut out the neckline as seen for the back first, because the front I have to use a pattern. When I'm done with the pattern, before I decide, I cut the down, but the depth I use was 7. So for the sleeve, like I said you don't necessarily need to cut. It depends on the design you want to make. You can be creative with it, you want to make with it. So but because this has a design in front, I have to slit it open. But I did 0.7. I didn't do much. You can see how I'm trying to cut it, because the beauty of the dress is the hand. The hand has to be very full. Okay, that's the beauty of it. So now I'm just going to slit open, then separate the back from the front. I also emphasize that if you need ease for it, if you don't want, because if the hip part, if you make it too free, the beauty is not going to come out from the hip. So you will need a zipper allowance for the back. So make sure to add zipper allowance. I didn't show it here because I didn't put, later I had to do it like the old school way, to slit open to put the zip, which was difficult. So just avoid that. Okay, so I'm just trying to show you all the process, that everything I did. So this is me placing the fabric. Initially the idea I had was to make the lace fuller, like from this hand to this other hand, but the lace was not enough, so I had to later find my way around to adjust it. So when you're cutting your lace into two, you're going to cut it right side facing each other, because it's a crisscross. Okay, if you cut it, if not, if you don't cut it very well, you may waste your fabric and have issues with it. Okay, so it's a crisscross, so you have to cut it right side facing each other, or the wrong side facing each other, so that when you are flipping, you're flipping it this way, right way, and the left way, if that makes sense. Okay, so I placed it here and I cut it. This was what I was doing. I didn't want to edit this part. I just wanted to see, sometimes when you see a video you think there was no error in it. This was the initial plan for me, to make it full, but when I found out that it's not, the fabric was not enough, I have to find my way around it. I've said that before. So I just connect it. You have to connect this like 3 inches away from the hip point. Okay, that's where the lace, the slant is going to end, 3 or 4 inches away from the hip point. Okay, so this is it. I'm just going to cut out, then try to cut out the other part by readjusting it. Okay, if you watch up to this point and you find this video very helpful, so please do it to like our video, comment, drop a comment, and share this video. When you do that, you're helping the creator. Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm just going to cut, and if you recreate this style, please, you can use our handle to send us a message to show us. It gladdens my heart to see that my video is actually imparting someone to create. Okay, so now I'm going to just cut out like so. For the lining, you can choose not to, if you don't want to make a full lining like I did for this, because this is a client cloth. If you don't want to make a full lining, it's not a must to make a full lining, but if you don't want to make a full lining, your lining can stop by the nail point or way after the nail point. Okay, if you don't want to make a full lining. So this has a full lining. It's lining from up to down, which will consume more lining. So you're going to need, aba lining is like by 60, but even in as that, I used more because I did not cut it by 60, because the length is more than 60. So I had to fold the other way around, if that makes sense. So you have to, if you're making for a client, you have to do your calculation very well, so that you don't run at a loss when you're done sewing your clothes, so that you can have your profits intact. Okay, so now this is, I'm just showing us how this is going to be, how you're supposed to match it. Okay, you're going to fold like so, then you secure the hem, then before you top the other one. But this is just a show of it. This is how you're meant to place it when you're placing. And also you can see that the design from the original creator is not the same with this. So you can also switch your design to whatever taste you want it to be. Okay, you must not necessarily, this can inspire you to do something better than what I did. Okay, so now I'm trying to find my way around the other one. I realize now that the fabric was not enough. So they say if life gives you lemon, you have to make lemonade out of it. So I discovered a way to make it work, and I made it work. Okay. So I'm just going to adjust till I get what I want. Okay. I'm just busy trying to find my way. The wrong side of the fabric keep going where I don't want it to be, until I realized that, oh, I was supposed to, it's a crisscross, I was supposed to cut it together, which was a huge mistake I made, because sometimes you just need to map out what you're doing before you start working. So that's it. I decided not to edit this part. I want you to see that the struggle is real when you're making dress, because sometimes you post it and it looks like after editing everything, you think there was no error or the person did not struggle at all to make it. Okay. So now I've realized what I want to do with it. I'm going to, I'm showing you, instead of making it full hand length, so I'm going to cut it from like 5 inches away from the round neckline, the 2.5 inches away from there. I'm going to connect back to the center front to stop at the center front. So then I will now, the length of the lace will become shorter. I will have room to cut on the other side. So this is what I plan to do. This is where I finally arrived at. Please, if this is your first time come across my channel, please kindly like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It's encourage us, okay? And have been spending your Christmas. It's not funny, but I'm just laughing because that was the struggle I had. Something that was supposed to take me 15 minutes to cut took me more than 30 minutes, because I was trying to figure out, like, how do I call this client that the fabric is not enough? You don't do that to a client, right? So you just have to find your way around. So I have to. So this is it. I have finally done that. I have to now use this other one. You see that the other one now, the hand is going to cover the hand of the other one, and okay. So please, if you recreate this style, I would love to get a video picture or a picture about it of it. So this is me placing it. I have placed it on the fabric, okay, and I will show you what to do. The one on the inside, first you will have to iron, you have to fold it, fold the same line where you're going to match. Use your hemming gum. If you have hemming gum, if you don't have hemming gum, make good use of your pin. Use your pin to secure it, then you go to the machine to secure it, okay, then before you add this one on it. You see, because of the hemming gum, it's already looking like it is seamed, like it is sewn, okay, and it will also make the lace, it will not move more. If not, if you sew directly like that, it may bulge, like the lace may not be balanced. Lace has a little stretch on. So by the time I'm done with that, then I will place the upper one to it. The same process with the hemming gum as well. Then we'll come back to show you what we've done. Now this is the lining for it, okay. I want to show you how you're going to hem the down part. The lining is 1 inch shorter than the main fabric, okay. The lining is 1 inch shorter so that we'll have room to move it up, so that the lining will not bulge down, like it will not be coming down. So when you're done sewing, the best way to sew is to also sew with a hemming gun. So you sew it with your hemming gun, then you top stitch, then you flip, you drag it back, okay. So what this hemming gun will do is when you're now done folding it towards the right, bringing out the right side of it, you iron, it's going to slip, so the dress will not be moving or bulging down. Also, you know that you've also top stitch. So I'm going to show you with the one of the back panel that I did so that you understand what I'm trying to say. This is it. You see now we have, because it was 1 inch shorter than the front one. So when I'm done sewing and dragged it, I now have like 0.5 inward, okay, because I sewed on 0.5 as well. So, and I top stitch. So that's what you're going to do for the both side of your lining. You just sew around. It's just basically it. You sew. Then I did not sew the shoulder, okay, I didn't sew the shoulder. I had to leave it open, so I'm going to weave that part. So I sewed every other part around except the shoulder. The sleeve, when you sew the sleeve as well, you should repeat the process for the sleeve, okay, the sleeve side, to give it a grip. So this is, I'm done sewing it. This is the v-neck that I talked about. I sewed my v-neck, stopped at 7 inches, but I sewed it like this. It is best for me to sew it like this so that the neck will not be too open. Like I said, I'm not contouring anything, so the neck will not be falling open. It's an advanced person that has it. The person does not want their cleavage to show, so you have to be very careful. Sewing it like this helps you make it less open, okay. So now I'm cutting off all the excesses, then I will notch. For the back, I also notch. I didn't show that part, but when you sew, just notch, okay? So I notched. When I'm done, I'm doing the notches. So especially the end of the V point, make sure you notch that part because it will give ease for you to open. So I notched around, but while I was notching, I over notched. But I still find my way around it. There's always a way. So I went in to stitch it more, which made it more open, but it was still fine. It was still very perfect. So please like our video, like, share, comment. That boosts the video. It helps the algorithm push it out. Okay, so that's the best thing you can do for a creator. And I over notched there, so I have to stitch it again, you know, to secure it so that it doesn't open when I flip it open on the other side. And that's it. So we're almost done. It's a very easy tutorial. So now I'm going to bring the back from the back. I'm going to join the shoulder of the back to the shoulder of the front. I flipped it open, ironed, and this is what we have. You can see the V is not too open and it's giving a real V shape, okay? That's because I sewed it directly before I cut. So now, sorry, excuse me. I'm going to join the shoulder of the back to the shoulder of the front. I have to bring light. When I was making it, it was late, sorry. I have to add more light so that my video you can see what I'm doing. There was no light when I was sewing this part. And I have to meet deadline. You know, it's peak period, it's Christmas period, and people need their dresses. So I have to join the shoulder like so. That's just it about it. You join the shoulder like so. We're almost done to the end, and join the other part as well with 0.5 or the sewing allowance you added. You don't need much. The beauty of the dress is actually the sleeve, so the sleeve has to be big, okay? So you join it like that, and you come to the side. When you're done joining the shoulder, you just come to the side. You're going to sew from the arm side. You're going to use either you use 0.7 or 1 inch. You sew there. You know that the measurement started from the half length, which is your waistline. So from there, you just connect it freely. Then you come to the hip line. You impute your hip measurement on your hip line, and you impute your new measurement. Your new measurement is you can minus 1 inch from your hip measurement and everything you have from your hip and the allowance, it should be 1 inch lesser for the knee line. Okay, so you're just going to connect like so. For you just sew it downward, and that is it for the same side. Please ensure to impute your hip measurement. Very important. Your hip measurement, you're adding ease, 1 inch ease, okay, for the hip. But if you added zip allowance and you need it to be very tight, you use your accurate hip measurement. Okay, accurate is hip measurement. Your knee measurement shouldn't be accurate. You have to put ease so that you have free chance to move around. But for the hip, you can use your accurate hip measurement if you want it very shapy. So now you sew to the end, and that is it for the same side. So we are done with sewing it. Now we're going to work on the front, because it has a butterfly. It has a butterfly. So what you're going to do now is you're going to take your tape rule. You're going to measure from the standard of sleeve for bubu is 10 inches. We all know that, right? So you're going to take your tape. You're going to measure from your shoulder to either 10 inches, but for this I used 11 inches because she's busty. So I used 11 inches. I went down by 11 inches, okay, so that when she's putting her hand, she'll be free. And also, why I used 11 inches, her nipple point is 11.5, so the shape is going to start from the nipple point side, which will give it a grip, but also an ease to fit the breast. Okay, that's for me. So I did 11 inches. Then from the center front, I measured her bust measurement. Then I added 0.5 ease for both sides. Okay, that will be, if you do the math, that's 1 inch, right? So from there I added 0.5 for ease after the putting the actual bust measurement. So what you're going to do is you're going to just connect from that line. Now you're going to connect it to the hip line like so. You just take your hand out as if you're freestyling, you understand, to the hip line. You repeat same process for the other side. Repeat same process for the other side. And if you watch to this point, you've not yet liked our video, you've not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Kindly do so, and help us share the video to your loved one who needs to learn this. Okay, once again, compliment of the season, and happy new year in advance. Okay, so I'm just doing it on the other side, and that is it about the dress. So the next thing I did was, when I was done doing all these things, I saw that the dress was looking blank, so I had to create something to give it a pop. So I added bead stones to it to elevate the dress, because it was looking so blank. I didn't like it. Though the customer didn't say do that, but I had to. It's my work, right? You have to magnify your office. So I had to do that, and it gave it a lift and a pop, which made it so wow. so So I'll take it to the machine. Now you're matching it on the right side, right? You're not turning it inside to match. You're going to match it on the right side. That's why it's important to put ease for the chest measurement. That's your bust measurement. You have to put ease, because it has to sleep but have a little ease. It has to hold your body but with a little ease. You just needs it to complement your shape. That's just it. So here we are done sewing it, and this is the bead I used, the stone, sorry, I used to elevate and make it pop. I will leave you to enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. and let us know if this video has been very, very helpful to you. It will encourage us to do more, and the likes and the shares and the comments helps the YouTube push this video to more people. It lets them know that, oh, they feel this video is interesting, so they push it out there more. That's the best thing you can do for any content creator you see on YouTube. So that being said, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the video. Bye. See you in my next one.